Welcome. I'm your host, Jesse Swear, nationally recognized inclusive fitness trainer, Silver Sneaker Flex instructor. You can find out more about me. Visit my website, www.jesseswear.com, where I use science to master your fitness. Now, we're going to master fitness with science, but today we're going to be doing yoga, so not too much science involved in that besides balance. And this is going to be another warm-up and balance class, Silver Sneakers edition, with me, your instructor. So if you haven't taken a class like this in the past with me, there's many out there. Just subscribe to this channel and you'll get a quick glimpse, maybe 10-15 minute length of a yoga balance class for you just to utilize throughout your day or when you're in a stressful moment throughout your journey in life. We're going to take those feet, we're going to put those toes over knees, knees over hips, hips over shoulders. We're going to stay in a horse stance, which is typical with a Tai Chi or Qigong type of routine as well. Make sure you breathe, make sure you hydrate, make sure you pay attention to rate perceived exertion, and make sure you get physician's clearance. Now, if you need to do this in a seated position, you can do all these exercises in the seated position, especially those warm-up exercises. So I'm going to take those hands. They're going to be in a neutral position, gun grip, down by the side, and I'm just going to shrug. I'm going to lift up the scapula, where we're going to elevate them. So when you elevate your scapula, you work the upper part of your traps. There you go. When you retract your scapula, I'm going to retract them now, pull them back together, almost round a little bit. You work the mid part of your traps. And when you even depress or elevate those arms, a lot of times you're working the lower part of the trap as well. So we're going to bring them back, we're going to hold them here, and we're going to drop down. Lift up, push down. Lift up, push down. Although I'm trying to keep them retracted as I come up and down, because I'm trying to work the lower part of those traps, which are mainly vertical. So you have some horizontal fibers, you have some vertical fibers, and they all run basically from your neck all the way to your T12. And then for the mid and the lower part, they are typically through your C7 through your T12. Drop it all the way down. And that's vertebrae. Awesome job. So now I'm going to take a nice inhalation. I'm going to take that right hand up. Nice inhale. Left hand's going to go right here to the side, and I'm going to bend. Nice inhale again. Exhale here. Let's take that right side again. Nice inhale. Exhale, and this time I'm going to hold. So the nice part about this type of movement is working your QL, quadratus lumborum. Right? You probably never heard of that before, but it's your QL muscle. Nice inhale, nice exhale. Now you can do this in different positions, but one of the ways to do it is in a seated position or a standing position where you laterally bend. Right? Your quadratus lumborum, and we'll call it the QL, so I don't have to continue to say that long word. What it does is it contracts every time you sit, stand, or walk. Right? Run as well, but sit, stand, or walk, it contracts. It has an auxiliary function as well as respiration. So when you're in this position, you might have a difficult time with your breathing. It's a long muscle, back muscle, some will call it abdominal muscle, that sits on the postural abdominal wall on both sides, last one on this one, of your spine. Drop it all the way down. Take this right hand here, take a nice inhale. Now remember, we always want to inhale, exhale. There you go. And it starts at the iliac crest, so more in your pelvic region. Runs all the way through the L5, nice inhale, exhale, through the L1, lower lumbar. And then it connects into your lowest rib, which would be your floating rib, which would be your costal number 12. Nice inhale, exhale. And what it does, it helps you do lateral flexion like this, helps you with postural stability, and it gets overused a lot because of the weakness of not only our core, but the weakness of our glute medius and our mins. So the QL does a lot of work And if you're ever exercising or just have a long day and you have discomfort in that lower region, last one here, good job, through here, the vertebrae, all the way to that costal 12, it's probably your QL. And more than likely, it's your QL. You walk greater distance of time and you're feeling discomfort to that lower back. So we want to strengthen it. That's one way to do it. There's plenty of other ways as well. Take those hands out here. We're going to do downward dog now. We're going to take that left over right and we're going to bend forward and hold. There you go. I'll show you that side view in a moment. Hold it. Nice inhale. Lift them. Exhale. I'll turn to my left. We're going to go nice inhale. Nice exhale. Left grabs right and sit on back. And now we're basically getting in our RDL position. We're working our glutes and our hamstrings. Just holding this position, although you're working that lower back as well by holding here, and you're working the shoulder complex, holding this position. And that diaphragm, nice inhale, nice exhale. We're working on those yoga moves, nice inhale, nice exhale. Hold this position, and let's just sit here for about 20 seconds. And breathing through. So the most difficult part for this, for me, is holding my arms in this position. For some of you, it might be your lower back. Some of you, it might be your legs and your hamstrings and your glute activation. But for me, it's my arms. And remembering to breathe as well as we count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice inhale, nice exhale. And I'm going to turn. Right? So now right's going to grab left. Nice inhale. Right grabs left, and I push back and I hold. Again, not so much difficulty for me in my hamstrings and glutes, but more in my arms due to my exercise routines and holding me in this position. Now, if you got to hold them here, that's okay as well. You just really want to try to work on the respiration. Nice inhale, nice exhale, because my arms, they're having a hard time holding up at this point in time. Plus, you become a lot really upper trap dominant. You can really feel the discomfort there because most of the time we are sitting and we are taking our shoulders and protracting them and getting a forward displaced body position. So that's already a difficult movement. So right over left, there you go. Hold, lift up, try to look up. I'm trying to look at that bamboo. I'm trying to look at my pictures and I'm trying to stay in this position nice and strong. Awesome job. Awesome work. Looking good, feeling good. There we go. Nice inhale. Nice exhale, drop them down. Woo, good job. All right, gonna face that front. There we go. Did a couple exercises there, right? Difficult ones. Working on that balance, going back to some balance. What I wanna do is take a nice inhale, little bow, take that left leg back. And now I'm gonna be on the balls of the feet, right? So that heel is up, and I'm gonna take both hands back. I go into my airplane, hold this position. Excellent job, right? So you're going to have some knee flexion. You're going to have some dorsiflexion in the ankle, and you're going to have some hip flexion. Okay? Now, nice inhale, nice exhale. Now I'm going to turn to my left so you can see it a little better here. Nice inhale, nice exhale, and there I go. There's my hold. Now, majority of the weight, 90% of the weight is on that left side. So again, I got some knee flexion. You can see the knee. It's almost going over the toe. I got some dorsiflexion, and I'm getting some hip flexion. Right? A lot of us spend majority of our days in hip flexion, so we can't activate our glutes. Right? You can only activate one or the other. Right? If the hips are always in activation, then the glute can't get activated. It's one of the reasons why the rectus femoris struggles to get developed during movements because you're always in hip flexion. So you have to manipulate it to develop it. Vastus medius and vastus lateralis, they get developed because you utilize them all the time. Toes, again, on that right side, heels up, hold that position, look up. Good hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. We're going to switch and go to the other direction. So now this time what I'll do is I'll take the left leg back, so it's a nice inhale. Left leg goes back, both arms go back. So now I have knee flexion of the right side, dorsiflexion of the right side, and then hip flexion as well. So glutes not being activated here, right? Because you're in such flexion, right? Once you get into the flexion positions, that glute really is not being activated. What's being activated is your hip flexors. Your sartorius runs down through here and all the way up through here. Your psoas, which can be really tight. Your piriformis, your psoas minor, your rectus femoris, and we're just holding. No glute activation. Nice inhale, nice exhale. Hold that position, bend that knee. The more you can bend and go forward, the more dorsiflexion you get, the more knee flexion, the more hip flexion, right? Now you don't gotta be in this position like me. I got a really extended knee, so I'm getting a lot of quad domination right here. The more I stand up and go back, the more I come out of flexion and I put more into the glute activation. So it kind of depends on what you're feeling, what you need to work on, and then pulling those arms back like this as well, I can feel this position. But again, balanced knowledge and science to master your fitness through some yoga today, right? That's what we want to work on. So back to that front. Awesome job. I'm now going to go into the tree pose. So into the tree pose, it's nice inhale, exhale. I lift the foot up like this for those individuals that don't have that external rotation in their hip, or they have knee replacement or hip replacement. This could be just your position, like this. Now, for someone that is a little more advanced, they can take their foot, put it right here, and hold. There you go. Now you're in your tree. And you're in your tree pose. And the goal of the tree pose is to try to stay here for an extended period of time. And breathe without falling, like me, right? So some people actually bring it here and hold. There you go. For their position, and some people just hold like this. A little more difficult to hold this position. This becomes a little more efficient, right? You're a little more centered. Or this one. Your choice. But the goal is to hold this position. Now you can give it a chair in front of you as well. Hold onto a chair, or hold onto a banister, or hold onto an ambulatory device, and just try to work on single leg balance. That's what you're doing. Now, with that single leg balance, you are getting a little external rotation. Hip, right? You can feel it. Quad muscles are working. Right? You're in that flexion position again. So if you're in flexion, glutes really not getting activated, hamstrings really aren't getting activated. And hold. So I'm holding this extensively, right? You want to breathe. And we're going to take a nice inhale and nice exhale, drop off. Ooh, feel that, right? Feel that hip. Left side for sure for me. Nice inhale. Nice exhale. And I can hold. Again, lower level. Just holding in this position. It's a good way to start. Someone else, it might be a good way to start lower. I'm going to lift higher. I'm like a little more advanced. I actually able to put my left foot right over top of my calf, my soleus and my gastroc. And I'm just going to hold right here. Excellent, excellent job. And I'm just holding. Now, again, you can put them right here. You can hold more extensively in this position. Again, you're a little more efficient. Where if you put your arms up here, it's going to be a little more effective because all the weight's going to go down. You're going to have to balance a little bit more. You're going to get a little more core activation, probably a little more flexion in the knee just because of the balance position. But it's not going to change distribution of weight, right? It's just change the load, where the load's coming from. So the load's now coming down. You can hold some weights if you wanted to make it a little harder. But again, extensive period of time is what we want to do. This will be our last balance exercise. Awesome job. We could go into that pigeon next, right, where we go into that seated position, but that's even more difficult. You can bring them down here again, be more efficient. Stay in a nice, calm, peaceful position, just like Lincoln is right there, right? He's been laying here all morning, just relaxed, like a little angel. There you go. Nice breathing, nice holding. And how you feel? Hope you're feeling calm and you're relaxed and you're able to go through your day. Even if you can't hold this position, if you can get into a similar position, like although you might be in a seated position, bending that leg and just working through that movement, or just holding those arms in the air instead of the leg in this position. It'll help you refocus, rejuvenate the mind and the body and the spirit. especially when you start feeling a cramp. All right. My time is up. Peace, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this warm-up and balance and some of the education that I gave you as we work through science to enhance your fitness, to make your fitness, to improve your fitness. That is the goal.